You ever notice how nobody really misses anymore? Like, seriously. Every photo is tack sharp, detail packed, clean, noise free, and yet somehow still kind of soulless. We used to chase the moment, and now we just chase megapixels. And I want to talk about something that I think is low key killing photography, not from the outside like smartphones or AI, but really from within this time. The very gear we worship, high megapixel cameras, 61, 100, even 150 megapixels, are slowly ruining the art of photography. Sounds crazy, right? Well, let me explain it. I've been shooting for almost a decade now, and I started when I was much younger on a beat up old Canon Rebel T7. The camera that came with the kit lens, and now at 24 I've shot a lot of things like campaigns, weddings, editorial, portraits, you name it. I've owned everything from full frame DSLRs to even using some of the latest mirrorless monsters, and I get it. Gear's pretty cool, specs can be sexy. Sony a7R5, ridiculous resolution. Fuji GFX 102, insane dynamic range. But here's the problem. Somewhere in between 24 megapixels and 100 megapixels, the gear got a little too good. The tech is no longer pushing us to be better photographers. It's replacing the need to be one. So let's talk numbers. Remember when 12 megapixels was enough? The Nikon D700, Canon 5D Mark II, people shot magazine covers with that resolution. Hell, even billboards were printed off of 6 megapixel files. And now we've got the Sony a7R5 boasting 61 staggering megapixels, and people are still cropping like mad, pixel peaking, stacking images for sharpness, and talking about needing more. Why? I feel like it's because we've become a little bit too obsessed with perfection, and it's killing the intention behind creating something interesting. So high megapixels give us too much room for error, and you can shoot wide open and crop later. You can misfocus slightly and fix it with AI sharpening, or you don't really need to nail a photo anymore. You just need to shoot it big enough to fix it in post. It's like buying a Bugatti for a grocery store run. Yeah, it works, but you are severely missing the point here. There was a time when you really had to think before clicking the shutter, and I'm not just, going on a nostalgic rant here. There's some truth in this. What lens, what aperture, what distance, you had to frame with intention, and your exposure, well, it depended on how well you did that. Right in camera, because your raw files may not have been good enough. People fire off 20 shots per second knowing they can crop in later to find the good one, or whatever the case is, and it's like, where's the discipline in that? You talk to any old school shooter like a film or early digital, and they'll tell you all the limitations they had, and those limitations probably made them a lot better. 36 frames on a roll, you think about each one. 12 megapixels in the camera, you learn how to compose tighter. You get creative with light and angles instead of trying to rely on sheer file power of a 100 megapixel sensor. We're trading craft for convenient, and it really is starting to show more now than ever. But before we go any further, I just want to say, if you enjoy videos like these where we debate and discuss topics in photography, subscribe to this channel. This is the perfect place for you to be, just to voice your opinions. And also, if you want to become more like support and be a member, check out the links in my bio down below. Also, you can follow me on social medias there. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below also. So do you think super high megapixel cameras are better or for worse for us in the long run? Really let me know what you think, and maybe how many megapixels is your current camera. Mine right now is probably in that 45 to 47 range, I think. So I don't really have too much room to speak in terms of ruining, but hey, let me know what you think in the comments. But let's get back into it. So let's talk about the camera companies, because they have a lot to do with this, and I feel like we don't talk about that enough. They know we're addicted to the numbers, so what do? They push megapixels, more resolution, more detail. Look at the eyelashes on this hawk from 400 yards away. Fuji's GFX line, it's the perfect example. Medium format used to be pretty niche, but now I feel like it's more so of a flex than anything. But most people buying a 100 megapixel camera aren't printing 6-foot gallery pieces. They're posting it on Instagram in 1080p. So let's be real. Instagram compresses your shots pretty much to hell anyway. So why are we doing this? spending $7,000 on a GFX 100 and another $2,000 on glass to post photos that lose probably more than 90% of their resolution the second they hit the feed. So it's really not about practicality. It's a little more ego driven, and not in a bad way, but in a slight but kind of flex type of way. But the industry is happy to feed it, and that's the part where I feel like we need to pay a little bit more attention to. So let me give you two real life stories. A few years ago, I shot a wedding on a Sony a7 III, 24 megapixel. Nailed the moments, nailed the color, everything was clean. The couple blew up a few prints to 24 by 36, and there was zero issues. In fact, they loved the look. Fast forward to this year, I assisted on a commercial shoot with a Phase 1 IQ4, a 150 megapixel system. Gorgeous images, yes, but we burned through about 3 full terabytes of storage in one day, and most of those files never saw the light of day. Crop, pixel peeped, processed endlessly, and pretty much downsized for web use. It was overkill, and everyone knew it. Meanwhile, I still get compliments on that wedding I shot with a 24 megapixel and no gimmicks. Crazy story, right? So let me be fair. I'm going to play the devil's advocate for just a second. There are legitimate use cases for high megapixel cameras, like commercial production work, architecture, fine art printing. Absolutely. More resolution gives you flexibility and quality that clients really might demand, especially at those higher levels. But the problem is when everyone thinks they need that, when the average street photographer, hobbyist, or portrait shooter thinks they're limited by a 26 megapixel sensor, spoiler alert, you're not. You're kind of just getting caught in the loop. So remember what I said at the start, that no one really misses anymore? Well, that's the thing. In photography, missing is a part of the process because it teaches you timing, patience, and a lot about intuition. But when your gear does all the heavy lifting, like stabilizes your shot, autofocuses the eye, captures every pixel, you really stop learning the process. And that's the real tragedy in this medium or just form of art. The more perfect our tools become, the less pressure we feel to get it right. And slowly, the art fades into automation. So here's my challenge. Maybe try shooting with less. Try using a 12 megapixel with a 35mm prime. Really limit yourself, because you might be surprised how much more alive your photos will feel when you're the one crafting them and not your camera or your just equipment in general. Because in the end, it's not about resolution, it's about the vision. But anyways, I appreciate you for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, of course, subscribe if you enjoyed it and leave a like. That helps me out a ton. And again, check out any links and bios if you want to become a member and support the channel or keep up with me on social medias. Appreciate you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.